Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I think we're rolling. I think we're rolling. I say testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I think we're rolling. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I think we're rolling. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I like it a little bigger. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. One more time. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I think it testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I think we're rolling. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're rolling. I think we're rolling. Hey y'all, Coach in the Fight here. We looking at chapter 53, which is time of judgment has arrived. The time of judgment has arrived. But this is a brand new section of the book. This is section 8. Section 7. I told you I need some glasses. Section 7 says the judgment and purification of humanity. I'm about to start a whole new thing, but we haven't been doing them in order, so but you can catch out some random ones. All right, so well let's, you know how we do over here. We're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna give a little bit of a hook in this book. You're gonna hear about the first one, of course, you see there is the gathering of the harvest sown by man. He's going to start telling us why humanity deserves what it's about to get. It's going to tell the purpose of it and, you know, make it make sense as to why this is about to happen. And, you know, I ain't heard nobody complain yet. You know, they all seem to say, you know, well, that makes sense. And then you have the purification of humanity through the judgment. So this is how we're actually going to get purified. That's what's actually about to happen. Everybody, lottie dottie, everybody is about to get purified according to, you know, the person, the spirit, the individual. Okay. And then looks like the last section here is the love of God in the judgment. So he's going to remind us of who he is and you know what he's all about and his purpose in this whole thing. So all right, so we're about to get going here. Got Jason Jamal in the house. If they want to come say hi, they're welcome to. Otherwise, you know how we do, giving all praise and honor to the Most High, the Creator, our Father in heaven. Hallowed be his name. Verse 1. O my beloved disciples, these are times of judgment for mankind. Judgment Day. My brother announced it a couple of years ago, and I've kind of missed it. He told my dad, he said, this is Judgment Day. And I was like, wait, hold up, bruh. But, you know, he was actually right. You know what I mean? I need to call him up and give him credit for that. The time is up for you to begin to settle your accounts. See, the Father knew this by the timing of this book to be coming out in English. See, he know when people are going to start to recognize this book, and they haven't yet. It's still in the future. But let's go on. You are reaping the harvest of previous sowings, the result of consequence of your deeds. Talking about the stuff we've done, not only in this lifetime, and this is the tricky part. It's, you know, in previous lifetimes too. We have to make up for stuff we've did in previous lifetimes. And I hate to jump ahead of myself, but that's what Hebrews is talking about when he says that you have one life to live, and then there's the judgment or something like that. Well, okay, that life to live in part is over. It's done. You know what I'm saying? This is Judgment Day. Verse 2 says, there is a time for man to perform his acts, and another in which he must answer for what he has done. The time in which you live is the latter. This is where we're at now. This is what we're doing. We have basically, see, all the good guys are gone. All of the good, you know, people that pretty much have halfway had a chance, they're gone and are going as we speak. But you know, someone being murdered out in some of these places. These are the people who only needed like a little bit, and he's going to get into what happens to those individuals, you know, later on in this chapter. But let's go on. He said, that is why all of you suffer and weep. Yeah, see, you may not be suffering and weeping, perhaps, especially somebody who's sitting there with a cell phone in their hand, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube with a big glossy old phone that they've been shining on all day. Yeah, but, you know what I'm saying, let's go on. Where we at? I'm about to get myself in trouble. just as you have one time to sow and another to reap, so to God has conceded to you one time to comply with his law, and another in which he will manifest his judgment. See, again, this is where we're talking about that Hebrew part. This, if you compare this verse right here, and I suggest you go ahead and do so, line these up, you know what I'm saying, and see, don't it, and it actually referring one to another. When he talks about we have one time to live. But let's go on to verse 3. You are living in the phase of divine justice. Divine justice. And that's one thing for you guys who are new to Hermas Academy, new to the Third Testament of the Bible, new to the Old Testament, and keeping the laws and the feasts and, you know, the statutes and the judgments and all of that kind of stuff. This is what we're talking about. Divine justice, you know. But we'll get into that. Pain makes you weep. Humanity purifies itself through its own lamenting, because no one is exempt from restitution. And that's the part we really have to understand early, is that we are now paying a restitution every time you gain merits, no matter if they're, you know, positive merits that make you feel good, like doing stuff for people, or negative merits like stomping your toe and make you go through a little bit of pain. We are gaining merits to pay this restitution. It's a zero-sum matter, and we've done a lot of bad. So now in this time period, when people are actually going to need it, we're actually going to be expected to do a lot of good. But let's go on to verse 4. He says, these are the times of justice in which you must meditate over your destiny, so that through meditation and spirituality you will listen to the voice of the conscience, which does not confuse nor deceive, but it guides you along the path of peace. See, this welcome to Hermas Academy for you guys who are brand new. We actually go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because, you know, that's what we talk about over here, how it is that we're learning to do this. And it's not tricks, it's not, you know, anything, you know, fanciful or anything. I used to tell people a long time ago that you got everything you need already right there in your house, and that's, you know, a Bible. I be guessing you may not have a Bible, you know what I'm saying, but, you know, everybody got a Bible, and, you know what I'm saying, and we're talking about King James 66 books, you know what I'm saying. Start at Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 and roll. Just keep running, don't stop until you at least get to Josh, what's his name? Oh, let's go on. Starting to get a little preachy. Okay, meditating over your destiny through meditation. Okay, we didn't got through that part. Trying to go sentence by sentence instead of verse by verse. We up to verse 5. He says, this is the time of judgment for humanity. Okay, for all of humanity. It ain't just about you and your neighbor, you know what I'm saying, your kid that's sick or whatever. All of humanity is going through this. Everybody's about to be purified. Everybody. The divine judges men, villages, and nations, one by one. And nevertheless, men have not become aware of that, nor do they know the time in which they live. See, this is how deep this is because he's telling you that the neighborhood in which you live in, everything around you is being judged one by one. And you say, well, how can he judge both the village, the man, and the nation, you know what I'm saying, one by one, unless he has strategically placed each individual in his own strategic environment? And that's exactly what it's done. He's exactly what he has done. Let's go on. That is why I have come in spirit, manifested myself through human spokesmen. Through them I have revealed to you who it is that speaks, the time in which you live, and what your mission is. All right, so this is why you should stick around, you know what I'm saying, and don't, you know, think that you've heard this. And we praise the Lord for his divine inspiration and giving us the words to say here. But, you know what I'm saying, let me read it again. Though through I have revealed to you who it is that speaks to you, the time in which you live, and what your mission is. And then back up a minute, he said, manifested myself through human spokesman. See, the human spokesman part is over. What he was talking about was up to 1950. He was talking about those prophets that lived back then. I don't know exactly when they died, you know what I'm saying, or if they're all dead according to Hermas, some of them are still living or whatever. But, you know, there hasn't been a new prophet since 1950. Let me just put it like that, you know what I'm saying, and, you know what I'm saying, reference, you know what I'm saying, some other, you know, chapter and verse of this same scripture that we're reading from. But let's go on before I get myself in trouble. Verse 6 says, verily I say unto you, you are living in the day of the Lord. You are already under his judgment. Yeah, see, it's already every toothache, every unexpected bill, every time your kid cries, every time that dog barks at you in the middle of the night and keeps you up, that's you paying restitution. And, you know what I'm saying, it's all for our benefit. That's one thing we have to learn, but let's go on. He says, the living and dead are now being judged. Past and present deeds are being weighed in this scale. Okay, now here's a part. This is where it throws you off. The Thessalonians, chapter 4, I think it is, where it starts telling you. Well, let me just read it again. The living and the dead are now being judged. Okay, those in the spirit world are in what the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug calls hell. That's a place where you are, imagine a place where 24 hours a day you're going to have your conscience, your own personal conscience that's inside of you now, that you have dominance over. You smacking around or tell it sit down, anything you want to do right now. But there's coming a day when your conscience is going to be more strong than your spirit. He's going to be bigger than your spirit man. He's going to pretty much tell your spirit man to sit down, which is you, and you're going to sit there and have to listen to all of the stuff that you haven't made up for. And what we're talking about is stuff from all your past lives and everything, and I just get a sense a bunch of people just clicked off. But don't click off, you know what I'm saying? Stay with me, and I'm going to watch and see who actually did. It says past and present deeds are being weighed to this scale. And okay, we just talked about that. Open your eyes so that you can be witness that the divine justice is being felt everywhere. Okay, now there's a lot of people with their heads in the sand, you know what I'm saying, especially the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug and everybody down there, you know what I'm saying, singing them hymns with him. But we're going to go on. Verse 7 says, since olden times I have spoken to you about a judgment, and this is the time announced which the prophets pronounced as if it were one day. And see, that was the problem. They said it was one day. No, it's 1,000 years. Judgment day, it actually lasts for 1,000 years. Count them out, 1,000 years. He says, yeah, we're talking 1800s. He says, my words of your God, the word of your God is that of a king, and it stands firm. Okay, basically letting you know this is the word we're talking about. And remember John chapter 1 verse 1. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was what? The word was what? The word was God. Let's go on. What does it matter if that thousands of years have passed since then? Yeah, see, it's been a long time, thousands. We're talking 3, 4, 5,000. Some of these guys, speaking way Abraham, that was a long time ago. The will of the Father is unchangeable and must be fulfilled. Yeah, when you read about, what was that king over there, the law of the Medos and the Persians, where if a king say something, it can't be changed no matter what. It don't matter if you told you to go cut your mama's head off, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, king, you shouldn't have said it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be more careful. You know what I'm saying? But let's go on. Verse 9 says, if men, besides believing in my word, because what we were talking about out there is that, the Father, that's the way his rules are. If man can have that kind of authority over other men, how about the individual that created us? How about the Creator? Let's go on. If man, besides believing in my word, also knew how to pray and keep vigil, they would never be taken off guard. But they are unfaithful, forgetful, unbelieving, and when the ordeal takes place, that they attribute it to punishment, vengeance, or the ire of God, to which I say to you that every ordeal is announced with anticipation, so that you will be prepared. Therefore, you should always remain vigilant. Now that's a big challenge. That's a Facebook post right there. You know what I'm saying? Where did it start? All the way up at the 8 up there? No, there's a 9. Where's the 9 at? There's a 10. I can't really see this stuff too well, guys. There it is, right over there. It says, if men, besides believing in my word, okay, so that's one thing, to believe in his word, also knew how to pray. That's another thing. Okay, how about, watch this. Most people don't know how to pray. They think they know how to pray, and they're so arrogant about thinking that they know how to pray that, when I post up a video that says how to pray, don't nobody even watch it. It got like 12 views. Like, we're past that. Everybody know how to play. And then, I asked my cousin and them, and asked him, how do you pray? He said, what did he say, Stace? Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray my soul to keep. But watch this right here, and keep vigil. I don't even know what that is. Let's see if there's a synonym. And this will be, you know what I'm saying? Because, I've seen this before, but, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never bothered to try to look it up and see what it meant or anything. Watch, wake, night watch. Okay, so keep vigil is the watch. Okay, now I know. I know you're supposed to Watch. Okay, so I just didn't understand the word vigil means watch. Okay, now we can go on. They will never be taken off guard. Yeah, of course, because you're on watch. You ain't gonna be taken off guard. However, you know what I'm saying? And I would say the opposite is true too, because when you ain't on watch, yeah, everything's gonna take you off guard. You know what I'm saying? So I look back over my life and I be like, man, I ain't been on watch at all because everything took me off guard. Even the Revelations 12 sign in the sky, I found out about it like a week beforehand or something like that. And the star alignment in 1997, you know what I'm saying? Other people be telling me about stuff. I don't even be paying attention and I get caught off guard. I guess because I'm either off watch or maybe I'm watching in the wrong place and need to be watching television or something. Vengeance and ire of God. I believe I know what ire means. Vengeance or ire. So he told us what it is. We're going to have to read that again because we don't want to get into any type of blasphemy. Because remember, it's not he that's actually actually committing the acts. Whenever we see this kind of stuff, we always attribute it to the translator or to even the writer that, you know what I'm saying, they should have tried to understand this better, you know, and that it's not his revenge that he's taken on man. Man has caused this to self. You know what I'm saying? If it's anything, it's the earth that's doing it. It's our Father in heaven that actually told us about it. He's the one that, you know, and telling us how to survive it. You know what I'm saying? That's his responsibility in all of this. So we try to be careful there. To which I say to you that every ordeal is announced with anticipation. Okay, announced with anticipation, talking about ordeals, so that you will be prepared. Now, that's important, this preparation part, only because it takes so long. You know, you just can't get prepared overnight. Therefore, you should always remain vigilant. All right, let's go on, because look at verse 10. It's talking about the floods, destruction of the cities by fire, invasions, plagues, sickness, scarcity, and still more ordeals were foretold to all the peoples of humanity, so that they would be prepared and not be surprised. Okay, so yeah, and the reason why he told us that is so we can recognize that, you know, what's going on, because these are some serious times here. The times we live in now, like the scriptures say, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, guys. You know, people think they swift, they think they're able to outsmart man. You're not fighting against man. You're fighting against principalities and powers, and this is on a whole nother level here. That's why you have to keep the feast and all of that kind of stuff, so that you can have these guardian angels helping you out, and, you know what I'm saying, you know, working in your favor and such. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying, it's probably just as many bad ones as there are good ones, you know what I'm saying, out here. But let's go on. He says, in the same way today, that love of God always has sent a message of alertness, of preparations, so that when awakened, prepare themselves to be strengthened. Look at verse 11. He says, I tell you that although it is certain that every great trials await the world, the day of pain shall be shortened, for so great will be their bitterness that they shall cause men to awaken, to turn their eyes to me and listen to the voice of conscience that urges them to compliance with my law. So this is why it's been shortened, because if it were not shortened, people would, you know, eventually turn their eyes. And frankly, guys, you don't want everybody to turn their eyes. Everybody can't turn their eyes. Some of you guys are destined to that bad place. You know what I'm saying? They call it the lake of fire. You know what I'm saying? You got to look into what that actually is. That's a real thing. And, you know, there's certain people that's going there. And, you know what I mean? They may be watching this show or whatever. And if they are, you know, I would get repentant of such things, because that's serious business that he's talking about there. You know what I mean? But let's go on. He says, for so great will be their bitterness that they shall cause men to awaken. Yeah, so I'm going to read that again. Let me read that again. I tell you that although it is certain that very great trials await this world, the days of pain shall be shortened. The days of pain shall be shortened, for so great will be their bitterness. Okay, if it hadn't been shortening, it would have been so great that they shall cause men to awaken. So yeah, he don't want everybody to be awakened. That's what he talk about judgment. And you say, well, what happens to the people that, you know, die or get cast into the lake of fire? They make it eventually. It's just they take the long way around. You know what I mean? It's like they got to go to, you know, through some bad spaces, or, you know, have some, you know what I'm saying, before before they actually make it, but they actually make it. You know what I'm saying? And but because that's what it did for us. I'm gonna try to close this verse out. These verses getting serious. Good thing we only got one more to go. He says, "It shall be my justice that trims all of evil that they exist in the world." It shall be my justice that trims all of evil that exists in the world. Yeah, see, all of evil. You know what I'm saying? We praise evil now. We're so late in the game nowadays that we praise evil. You know what I'm saying? We call bad good and good bad and that kind of thing. But look right here. It says, "Before that I shall scrutinize all." Okay, this is all. When you listen to the I stopped right. Let me finish the whole thing. "Before that I shall scrutinize all religions, sciences, and institutions of the sickle of divine justice shall sweep through, separating the wheat from the shaft." Okay? "Before that I shall scrutinize all." So he's about to scrutinize all religions. So the Reverend Pastor Deacon Dr. Doug, he got some licks coming. You know what I'm saying? You know him. You know what I'm saying? He got some stuff coming. He don't get away scot-free. He gotta pay the piper. You know what I'm saying? Sciences, these people been getting rich too. They've been getting paid. They ain't been doing what they were supposed to do, and you know what I'm saying, actually, help humanity. They've been all about the money and getting paid, and just like the institutions too. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have like these Ivy League schools. You know what I'm saying? They got Ivy League secrets and stuff that they ain't telling regular folk, and that's why these people are becoming so successful or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get what you pay for. Well, all of these people been trying to get rich, and that's similar to what's about to change in here when we start talking about those four beasts and all of that of Daniel. But like I said, welcome to Hermas Academy. "The good seed that remains in the hearts of men I shall leave to give birth in the spirit of humanity." Did I leave that right? Let me read that again. He said, "The good seed that remains in the hearts of men I shall leave to give birth in the spirit of humanity." What he's talking about right here, guys, is basically 144,000. Give a shout out to those guys and the people that's around them that's helping them out. You got two ways to survive this thing, guys, and we're wrapping this up. You got the law, or you got love. That's the two ways to get in or on the ark, is either being obedient to the law or being a person who is really into charity and doing for others and showing love towards others. And those love, you know what I'm saying, I believe they mixing them too, because the 144 need all the love they can get. And all right, guys, we about to jump over to the purification of humanity through the judgment in the next class here. I can't think of what else we want to go ahead before we close this out. So we want to give the Father all praise and honor for everything He said. You know what I'm saying? We try not to edit these anymore, just kind of let it go, and we give Him all praise for what comes out. Maybe we can get more of these posted and such. All right. Oh, and I wanted to give a shout out to the people that's calling in on the old Text Now account. Yeah, like I told you when we first started talking on that thing, that is not a real telephone, and it's when the internet went, it went too. So so if you have been sending a message, we're going to. Well, all I would say is use YouTube. Don't really use that Text Now thing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really got nothing private to say. If you got something private to say, you know what I'm saying, just, you know what I'm saying, what you do is find an old video of mine that don't nobody watch and just put your comment in there. You know what I'm saying? But I got the battery light beeping on me, y'all, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. Yahushua is our Lord and Savior. Or I should say Jesus is Lord. Shalom.